Time for the 49ers Rush podcast.
The whole reason we do this series is because you learn these things and you fall in love with these players before you ever even see them play. And when this was proposed to us over a year ago, this is our second year doing the full roster countdown, there were just certain players that jumped off the page when you're doing this research, when you're going through stats, when you're going through quotes, when you're going through interviews. I'm telling you right now, if you skip this episode, I'm mad at you for a long time. You got to listen at least to the start of this episode because this story is made for TV. It's incredible. We're at number 85, okay? Undrafted free agent linebacker this year, Mariano Sori-Marin. Marin, I believe is the way it's pronounced. Pronunciation is not my thing. He came with an accumulative score of 412, right? All five producers ranked 1 through 91. You add up all those, the lower the score, the better. I'm just going to be really honest with you right now, and this is bias showing. I want him way higher. I believe in this kid, not just because of who he is, which is incredible. We'll dive into that, but because of what he's come from. People that overcome obstacles in their life, incredible. Like, I'm telling you, Dre Greenlaw vibes galore with this kid. Now, he's Cuban-American. Not a lot of Cuban-Americans in the NFL. And he's Cuban. His uncle, his great-uncle, I apologize, Humberto is his name, was part of Fidel Castro's revolution taking over Cuba. But things got really bad really quick. And again, if you know anything about Cuban history, I don't want to dive into that. That could be an hour-long episode. I'm a history guy. I love this stuff. But during the redistribution of land, things got really, really heated. Corruption, all that kind of stuff started playing in. His uncle took off, came to the United States, and started working with the CIA. So much so, in fact, he was one of the leaders or frontmen, this is all told from the story of Mariano's father, in the Bay of Pigs. He goes back, and if you don't know what the Bay of Pigs is, that's okay. Basically, the CIA sent Cubans back to Cuba to try to take it back over, and the mission failed. His great-uncle gets captured, executed by firing squad, terrible things. The rest of Mariano's family, they descent to the United States. They get, their U.S. visas. A lot of them were in the medical field, and, I don't want to say the rest is history because the impact of all those things, it plays such a big role into who you are, your identity, how you're raised, the family unit, the atmosphere. It's just a whole thing. And again, football is the smallest of this story, but it's what we're here to do. And you hear these things that this kid has gone through and his family has gone through. He wasn't even born yet, right? But it gets passed down. And Mariano, the newest 49er, he was asked about his family's past. Listen to this quote. This is incredible. It's been dialogued. I found it in a PFF article. It was in the New York Post. I mean, incredible story. I had no clue about this guy. Quote, "The biggest thing is perspective and appreciation for everything my family went through to get to America and provide me an opportunity to grow up in this country." This is, again, from Mariano Sori-Marin. I misspelled his freaking name. That's okay. Sorry. If you're watching the graphic on YouTube, it's S-O-R-I. I apologize about that. Continuing that quote, "So to be able to play a game for a living in the NFL would truly be special. We live in a country where we have so many freedoms and opportunities that aren't the same in other parts of the world. So I have gratitude each day," end quote. Holy freaking cow. Like, this is a kid that he's 23 years old. He's played 5 years in college. He gets it. Now, what we're going to do, like, that's his history, what he has been raised with and through and has accomplished the things that he does. And it permeates the way he plays on the field. It permeates who he is off the field, which, again, those are the things I'm most excited about. Now, let's talk about football. And let's talk about who he is, because that's great. A lot of people have great stories. What about on the field? Listen to this, okay? I'm going to go through his height, weight, speed, bench, 40, all that stuff. The 49ers have a type at linebacker, and I think, and I've said this so many times, they evaluate the linebacker position better than any other position on the field. It's not even close, okay? His jersey number is going to be 51. Shout out to Aziz. We miss you already. The new 51's here. We'll see how he does with it. He's a big linebacker. Mariano is 6'3", same as Fred Warner, 6'3". Mariano is 245. He's tall. He is big. Fred Warner, 236. Arm length, just over 31 inches. Fred Warner, 32. He's 23 years old. His 40-yard dash, 4.6240. Fred Warner, 4.64. You see what I'm getting here? Now, I'm no way in shape saying this dude plays like Fred Warner. He doesn't. I think they have different skill sets. But if you look at last year with Marcelino McCrary-Ball, you look at Curtis Robinson, you look at Aziz, you look at Fred Warner, man, they are a type to a T. And Mariano falls in line with that. D. Winters, not so much. Jalen Graham, not so much, and I'm not trying to downplay them. They went after those guys for their specific traits that will help them excel, but they love these linebackers with these giant, immense measurables, 6'3", 245. He's bigger than Fred Warner. He's faster than Fred Warner. Now, not in change of direction or burst. 10-yard splits, okay? The first 10 yards of the 40-yard dash, Mariano, 1.69. Not bad. Fred Warner, 1.55. That's elite. 3-cone. That's change of direction. 7.17 for Mariano. 6.9, nice, for Fred Warner. So the shiftiness in the initial burst, that's Fred Warner by a mile. Vertical, 35 inches. Fred Warner, 38.5. Bench press, Mariano, 16. Fred Warner, 21. So he's bigger, a little bit slower, not as shifty, and not as much upper body strength. But the similarities, that's off the charts, okay? That is off the charts. Now, he grew up in Chicagoland. He went to high school at Providence Catholic High School, the Celtics, in New Lenox, Illinois. He was a captain. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal. 3-star recruit. He chose to go to Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, but he didn't have a lot of options. Now, if you look at what he did in high school, he played linebacker and wide receiver. He had 6'3". He's a pretty big dude. Lettered in track and field. His accumulative ranking coming out of high school into college, he was the number 33 inside linebacker in the country. He was the number 18 overall prospect in Illinois. So good, not great. Lands in the Big Ten, and, man, showed up and played. He was a 5-year player at Minnesota because the COVID exemption, all those things. He was a 5-year player. His first year, he was part of the all-quad team, okay? Niners got a lot of quad guys, but this is the actual leg muscle quad. This is special teams. The members that were a part of all 4 special teams groups. And I think this is where he will be able to get his foot in the door. Whenever he was asked about what his points of pride and things that he accomplished at Minnesota, listen to this. He said a point of pride was being a quad teamer over his years with the Golden Gophers, meaning he contributed on all 4 of the primary special teams, punt return, kickoff return. I went back and tallied his special team snaps through Pro Football Focus, 584 career special teams plays. That's bananas. So, all right, cool, you're a special teamer. And we're going to go through these guys. We're doing all 91, and it's like, okay, special teams, cool, right? No. This dude is the special teamer. To be what he was at Minnesota and still get that many snaps on special teams, that's just a check. Remember last year, Hufunga, Jimmy Ward, those dudes were out there on every special teams unit. That's just the way it was. That's awesome. Now let's talk about his linebacker play. 46 career starts. If you look at his cumulative career stats, again, Marlino, Sori-Marin, 274 career tackles, 14.5 tackles for loss, only 1.5 sacks, not a big blitzer. They didn't use him that way, though, in Minnesota. 1 interception, 9 pass defense, 3 forced fumbles. Now let's just look at his last year. Now, let's start with his Pro Football Focus scores, kind of what he's good at. He had a 60.3 defensive overall grade, not great. 73.6 run stopping, that's good. 72.2 tackling, that's good. 60.3 pass rush, all right, didn't do it very much, didn't have a lot of reps there. And a 43 in coverage, that's bad. So that's what have the Niners done, right? Look at Drake Greenlaw, which they're different body types. Let me change that. This kid will never be in Dre Greenlaw's position. He is going to be a Mike or he's going to be a Sam, right? So I'm changing kind of on the fly here. Compare him to Aziz. Not great in coverage, but got better every year. And at the end of Aziz's tenure in the 49ers, you weren't asking him to do the hard coverage thing. You were putting him on running backs in the flats, and he could do that. That's something that this kid can do. You don't want him on tight ends. You don't want him on slot guys. Let Drake Greenlaw, let Fred Warner do that. Allow him to learn the coverage aspect from a simplified position, that Sam role. Give him the running back, the fullback, things like that. That's what you got to do. Now, again, just looking at the missed tackle numbers, he had 14 missed tackles in 2022. That's a little high, but he had 88 total tackles. So that's a 13.3% missed tackle rate. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just kind of where it is. Now, accolades that he received, all Big Ten third team, all Big Ten honorable mention twice before that. And again, here we go, academic all Big Ten. Big Ten's hard to get out all academic. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. 4 times. This kid's got it upstairs, man. And he's when you check the boxes of these players, I hope you can tell I'm excited. Like, I probably shouldn't be this excited about the number 85 player on this roster, but I am. I am pulling for this guy. I am so excited about what he brings to the table. He was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week one time in 2020. And listen to this. This is what the coaches said about him. When asked about what sets him apart, they said this. They praised his knowledge of the game and his thirst for film study. This ain't Kyler Murray, baby. He began studying film. Get this, at Pee Wee football level. His coach, Matt Hunneford, who was his Pee Wee football coach, would get them tapes on the opposing team so that they could watch them and know what was coming. Coaches matter. You instill practices into kids. It matters. It changes who they will become. PJ Fleck, the head coach at Minnesota, said, quote, he plays faster and more physical than probably any player I've ever coached, end quote. He's fast. You know, he ran a 4.6 at 240 pounds, 245 pounds. Don't want to slide him a little bit. Like, again, he's got a faster 40 than Fred Warner did. But again, listen to PJ. Played faster and more physical. Tell me that's not a scheme fit with the 49ers linebacking group. You look at the solo run stops that he had. He was second in all of college football behind Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell went first round, pick 18 to the Detroit Lions. Jack Campbell had 79 solo run stops. I'm sorry, I apologize. Jack Campbell had 89 solo run stops. Mariano, Sor-Marin had 79, right behind him. Then I started just digging deeper because I was curious. Man, Iowa played a lot of run snaps. So as a defense total, they had 882 run snaps. Minnesota had 739. So you're talking 150 some odd snaps less in the run game, but pretty comparable on solo run stops. This dude's just a wrecking machine. Here's his quote. I like this. Quote, this is Mariano talking. When you're a student of the game and grateful to step on the field for every aspect of every day, that's a recipe for success, end quote. This kid gets it, man. He gets it. And so when I was doing my research, and again, shout out to the man Josh, 49ers Guru, doing a lot of this back work and research and all that stuff. He crushed it. I came across, he ran a food vlog. You can go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's called Meals with Mariano. If you just type that in, it pulls up. I found several episodes. I watched a couple of them. Really, really good. Like, the personality and the confidence and the charisma, man, it comes across. Go check it out. They're like 5-minute videos. It goes over like lasagna and barbecue, and I saw another one on some type of sandwiches that's there. Go check it out. Meals with Mariano. He's an entertaining guy. And whenever you learn the story of his family and the Cuban Revolution and all this kind of stuff, and it just puts things into perspective. It really, really does. Now, he was projected to be kind of a 6th, 7th rounder undrafted free agent. And when he was asked about possibly going undrafted before the NFL draft actually took place, here's what he said. This is before he knew, like, basically, what are your feelings if you go undrafted? Quote, there's a benefit to being a priority free agent. You can pick where you go, and you can see if there's a fit schematically, culturally on the depth chart, end quote. Come on, man. Come on, man. How do you not get excited about that? He chose the Niners. Why? Because they are the best linebackers in the NFL. The best. He wants to be a part of that. Is there an elite level of competition ahead of him? Does he have an uphill climb? Yeah. Does that matter? No. Why? Right here, he picked it so he can go to a fit schematically. He's a perfect fit. And culturally, physical, play fast. Come on, baby. Come on. Excited about this guy. And, you know, it's funny. I went through all of the stats and statistics. This dude's had his fair share of interviews just because of his history, and rightfully so. He was asked, listen to this. This is awesome. He said, it's about how players work with their 10 brothers beside them on each play that matters a whole lot more than individual accolades. Quote, stats are for losers, end quote. Whew. Come on, baby. This is somebody like I want around. You know what I mean? Now, he gets brought on with the 49ers undrafted free agent. Bruce Feldman of The Athletic had him ranked as his number 42 inside linebacker. He's number 85. You keep 53. How is this kid going to fight his way up? Listen to the depth chart. This is the kind of like, I don't want to say cringe, but it's just like, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Oren Burks, absolute locks. I'm going to say D. Winter's pretty damn close to a lock. Jalen Graham, who was drafted ahead of him, interesting. Then you've got Marcelino McCrary-Ball, the largest undrafted free agent payout last year. Curtis Robinson made the 53-man roster last year. Then you've got, in my opinion, if I was doing the depth chart, this is where Mariano comes in. After that, DFF, I just don't see it, especially in the linebacker. He's a special teams only player. And then Jack Coletto, the undrafted free agent out of Oregon State. I don't know where the hell to put him. He played linebacker, tight end, fullback, running back, wide receiver, quarterback. What's he going to do? So for Mariano to make this roster, he's going to have to show out on special teams. That's his pathway. He knows that. He's got the experience, over 500 snaps there. But this is a kid I'm not betting against. And now, again, do I think he's making the 53-man roster? No. I don't think that should be the goal. The goal should be to land on the practice squad, develop, and wait for his opportunity. But, again, I'm not rooting against this kid. There's no way in hell you can. Not with the story he's gone through. Not with the perspective that he brings on and off the field. The kid watched film in Pee Wee football. I love this dude, man. Really, really excited and just so thankful that the Niners have a place for people like this, despite having one of the deepest linebacking groups in the NFL. You bring in studs. You bring in cultural fits, and that's what he is. Man, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, email me, reach out, 40hoursrushpodcast@gmail.com, Twitter @JL_Chapman, wherever. And just say, hey, man, that was cool. Because I don't know if I'm geeking out, uncontrollably. Am I crazy? This is cool, man. This is what sports brings to the table, right? These stories. And this is why I love this game, and I love doing these roster countdowns. Because, man, guess what? Every time 51 came on the field, Aziz, I was so excited because that dude was a straight baller. We get to keep that exact same enthusiasm with Mariano, Sori-Marin. So excited to have him on this team, and we're just going to keep counting them down over here at the 49ers Rush Podcast.